Well, thank you. Here we are at the after show afterthoughts here with Ann Dunning. Hello, Ann. Listen, listen, she. I have the prettiest guests. I'm always saying all my guests are pretty, and we were speaking on the radio about a lot of different things. Ann is what I call, and you can correct me, Ann, but I call you a consultant because I do really believe that that role is so very important to a lot of nonprofit organizations, how they can focus themselves, how we can then make sure that we are moving with the times, that we are growing with the industry around us. And we talked about that when we talked about on the radio. When you tune in, you'll see we talked about Ann's background and how she's gotten thus far. But the last thing we started talking about was the future of the arts when we talked to young people. And one of the things that was important, our wonderful participant, Mamie Duncan Gibbs, called in and she talks about how she talks to young people and what's important, how to work hard. But to if you could repeat a little bit of what you said then, and about what you think, how you think young people need to be prepared when they think of this as a vocation for themselves.
Sure. Yeah, just to really kind of quickly summarize, I mean, I think that any young person who's coming into the sector really has to recognize that it is an entrepreneurial kind of job. You really have to manage your own business, so to speak. You have to sustain yourself and find the opportunities and put together the opportunities that are going to create a rich and purposeful approach to the work. And I think that it is, as Mamie said, it's hard work, but it's also about putting yourself out there, trying new things, and finding the different niches and opportunities to express your creativity, to connect to other creative communities. One of the things for me that's so rewarding about this work is I'm not inherently a creative person myself. I'm not an artist. And yet I live in this world where I'm constantly working with these amazing creative minds. And that is what makes the work so rewarding and exciting. Like, to be in conversation with those folks has been so meaningful for me over my career. And so thinking about, how do I get involved in a creative community, whatever role you take on, how do I be part of that community and part of that conversation? Because I think that's what young people often, when they look at the arts, that's what they want to be part of. And you can take lots of different roles and be in that room and be part of what's going on.
And you never know where that role is going to take you. And we used to be an industry that created stars, that had a factory that did that. We're no longer that. But you could start doing something just purely because you think it's a fabulous project. And before you know it, it turns into something that can propel you to that. Or you could be in this industry for 50 years and never come across anything like that. It is being able to be not satisfied, to be grateful, but also to understand that being a part of this industry requires a lot of patience, of understanding what it is, understanding that it's like the lottery. If you come into it just to be rich and famous, that might be something that will discourage you. If you come into it because the arts are something that you can't live without, that smell backstage, that the call that you give as a stage manager, 5 minutes, places that you can't wait to say all of that. That all of that was, as I say it, I get, because I used to stage manage, I used to love stage managing. I get chills, knowing, because you're such a part of the whole production. And how we present it to young people is so important. I think the presentation that only presents the star-like status is one that does our industry a disservice, because it says this is the only way that I want to go into it. There are so many other wonderful, very important, resourceful ways. I can tell you, having been pushed out of being a stage manager back onto the stage by my teachers, that I understand the role of everybody else that prepares me for that to be in front of whatever, whether it's the camera, whether it's the lights, everybody's role, how significant it is, and appreciating that. And we'll switch with them in a minute because it's about being in the business and really fulfilling that love that you have for it, and that you can't get anywhere else. I mean, I didn't think that I would ever love anything more than I love teaching, but I teach in the business every time I
Yeah.
direct. Every time, all of this is teaching. So I am teaching. It's just that I'm not writing a curriculum and I'm not in front of a blackboard, but I have one downstairs in my basement. I will
But
always be that kind of teacher.
the whole creative community thing, I think, is so important. And being part of a creative community, it's appreciating what everybody else brings to the table and respecting that. And it's also knowing the importance of you showing up and doing your part, because without it, the whole thing doesn't happen. And so
Does
like
not.
sense
Yes.
of responsibility to each other is something that we
Yes.
really have in
Yes.
these arts and culture community.
Yes. And that's the one area where I say that everyone has an equal part of the pie. Now, the person in front does get more visibility, but they don't work any harder than anybody else to make sure that the moving parts are safe for you to jump from one part in that theater to the other part, to lay on a piano as I did every night, to do all of those things, to get on that safely, to be lifted up, to be lifted down, to not to be hurt, not, to make sure that I had one role where I was in 4 6-inch heels almost, and I had to go down a ramp, which I'm sure was illegal. But they had to put sticky stick on the ramp so that my shoes would stick. And one night, the assistant stage manager forgot, and I
Did you
took
go
the first
sailing?
step. I went sliding down,
Oh no.
and I thought, well, how do I recover from that? So I went, start the song again. I went back up. I walked right back up, and I walked down holding the rail though, and did this, and then got a standing ovation at the end. By the time I got to the bottom, you do make lemonade out of the lemons, and of course that was never, it wasn't it wasn't on purpose. And I think that poor woman, she was in tears. By the time I got off and finished the number, she was in tears because she couldn't believe that was the one thing she forgot. She said, I had everything done, and then I realized when I saw your entrance, oh no. Yeah.
Well, she probably never made that mistake again. That
Oh
was
no. I know. Yeah, but what was interesting is that there were people who came back who said, "Well, what happened with the slide tonight? Isn't that part of the show?" They thought, said, "Oh no, I'm not doing that every night."
you made a routine about it. They were like, "Oh yeah, she does that."
Okay, so that's how it's going. That's the recovery for this character, because she was so devious. How she would recover and everything. I said, "Oh no, darling, that was just one time."
But also, the other great thing about arts is, every night you see the show, there's some little difference. It's like something happens.
Exactly.
So this is the joy of live performance,
Yes,
is
it is.
like the audience and the artists have a unique experience in that moment. And it's how you responded to that
Yes.
made
Yes.
that audience experience that night.
Exactly. But
So
and
special.
years of experience told me that, no, you're gonna have to you have to fix this. You can't just stand there and do that and be defeated like that. You're gonna have to fix this for not only you, Lynnie Godfrey, but for this character to that how would she react? And she would do that very thing. She would do that. Those experiences, you can't ever pay for anything like that. That's just it's just the air that you breathe, and
Yeah.
it happens when it happens. And the only sad thing about it is that it's never captured. So people can talk about it and they can relive it in their minds, but other people will never be able to see it. That's the only thing about live theater, when because it's not filmed every night and it filmed every night. And there's a wonderful element in doing television and film, the ability to do it in front of a live audience, or that ability of doing movie like television or movies, and making that making those moments happen one time after another time, the general shot, the close-ups, and the repetition of that, and the skill that and the craft that takes. So everything is such it's a wonderful world to belong in, but it's a hard world to belong in. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. It's not
Yeah.
an easy path, but a
No.
rewarding one when you.
I believe so. I believe so. One last thing, where do you think we will be here in this industry in 5 to 10 years? Do you think that the nonprofit sector will be in a different status? It will be different? Do you think that our structures will be different? How do you think that that's going to go?
I do think our structures will be different. I think that a couple of things, I think, and maybe I could almost say I hope will change in terms of structure. One is the way in which we distribute resources within our sector. Right now, we're in a world where each individual company has to go to each foundation and ask for $5,000 and $10,000 and cobble together these resources in a way that's so labor intensive and remains inequitable in terms of who has access to those opportunities to even go and ask for resources.
Yes.
And so I hope we find a way to recognize that there are resources in our community, in our network, to support this work and come together around a way to better bring those resources together and share those resources and distribute those resources more equitably and with less work and friction for everybody involved.
Yes, yes.
That I hope
make the process, make it a little bit easier for all of us, so that we can move forward with a little less effort. Because it takes so much. It takes so much to do what we do. The distraction is trying to create an atmosphere so we can do it. That I hope in the future that in my lifetime, I get a chance to see that it's easier for those young people who are coming in now, and that they do appreciate, though, all of the effort and the work that was put into it so that they could appreciate where they are. Because I truly do appreciate all the effort and the work and the sacrifices that were done for the women before me, to allow me to sit here and speak the way I speak and to have the experiences that I have. One of the things that I say to people, if you want to be in the business, do the research. Know who was here before you were here. Know what their journey was. Know where their journey has taken them, and how you benefit from it. And don't be ignorant. Well, who is that? What is that? No, know who that is. Know who that is. Let that be your responsibility. And you're not going to know everybody when you first get in there, but listen to the people who've been there. And when you don't know, now you have Google. I had to go to encyclopedias, please, but go look it up, find out the terms, do it, be a historian of your own art, and own that. Not don't let it just be about you. Be about all the people who got you to this place. So I'm constantly thanking the women who have gotten me to where I am, to the point where all of the sacrifices that the women like Ethel Waters and Dinah Washington and Diane Carroll and Diana Ross and all of those women had to experience, Sarah Vaughan, so that I can sit here comfortably and do this. And people on a larger scale, that they can do it on a national level, on an international level. So let us not forget that we did not get here ourselves, that we are just a result of people creating a path for us to sit in. And our obligation is to continue that path so others can sit behind us.
And I think, Lynnie, that goes right to something that both you and I are very passionate about in the work that we're doing together, which is like, really, how do we create networks of support for each other? How do we lift each other up and support each other in the industry, because it is hard. And
Absolutely. And everyone is busy. I say,
yeah,
well, Lynnie, do you have time? I said, I never have time. I make time. And that's the difference. You really must make the time to be supportive. To
yeah,
say, well, I know this is coming and I know I have three other things, but let me see if I can juggle all this, because that person was supportive of me. Or even if they weren't, maybe they'll be able to come and see something that I've invested time in. And if they're not, send someone, be invested in it. Be invested in each other, I think, is a very important thing. Not just being in the industry. And I know this is an industry that says, you got to work hard. It's about you. But it really is more than about you. It really is all that support that you give, you get back. You get
yeah.
it back. You really
And
do.
it enriches your life so much. I
It
mean,
does. I mean,
I think about that.
it,
Everything
it,
I put out there, I get back.
I have years, people that I met years ago will come up to me and say, we met a long time ago. Now, sometimes I will say, and sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't. But they'll say, but I thought about you and there's a project that you're right for. And I go, well, look at this. I don't even know who you are. And and you are now talking to me about a project, because the impact that you make on people, you don't even know what it is. Just do the work. Just do the work in a supportive way. You'd be incredibly surprised what that impact has on people. You know,
Yeah,
it really is. I
yeah.
can't thank you enough. You have given me so much of your time. I'm not going to take any more of your time. It's 20 minutes now. I got to get you out of here so that you can have the rest of your evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been really, really informative. And I'm sure that people are going to say, when is she coming back? I want to.
Well, Lynnie, I always love having conversations with you, and this is no exception. So it's been a pleasure for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you. Well, we're going to say goodnight to the audience and you stay on for 1 second. Thank you, everyone, for really tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of what we discussed on the radio and Lynnie Godfrey Straight No Chaser. It will be posted up, so you'll be able to see it all of the regular places on YouTube and on Facebook and Twitter. So I will see you on the radio, everyone. Have a great week, and I hope to see you next week. Okay. Thank you, and bye-bye now.